The silver ship moved slowly through space near the edge of the solar system. Its metal surface was smooth and clean, reflecting the distant light of the sun. Inside the ship, strange beings worked at control panels that glowed with soft blue light. Commander Vectar stood tall on 6 thin legs. His body looked like a tree trunk covered in gray bark, with long arms that ended in delicate fingers. 2 large black eyes sat on top of his head, moving independently to watch different screens at once. He was from the Althorian race, a people who had given up war thousands of years ago. "Science Officer Quindal, what do you see on the scanners?" Vectar asked, in a voice that sounded like wind through leaves. Quindal was very different from his commander. Her body was made of living crystal that changed colors as she thought. Right now she glowed pale yellow, which meant she was curious. The Zenithan people were known for being very smart and careful with their research. "Commander, I'm finding very strange energy patterns from the 3rd planet," Quindal said. Her voice rang like small bells. "The creatures there have learned to fly in space, but they have not left their home system yet." Vectar moved closer to look at the readings. The Galactic Council had sent their ship to study new life forms. They did this work all across the galaxy, finding young species and helping them join the peaceful community of stars. "What type of beings are they?" Vectar asked. "They walk on 2 legs like many species we know. They have built cities and machines. But something is different about them." Quindal's crystal body turned orange, showing she was worried about something. Far below on the blue and green planet Earth, Captain Hyunwoo Kim sat in the command center of the United Earth Defense Force. He was a strong man with short black hair and serious eyes. Around him, dozens of people watched screens and listened to radio signals from space. "Sir, we are getting signals from outside our solar system," said Lieutenant Boram Park. She was young, but very good at her job. Her fingers moved quickly over her keyboard as she tried to understand the alien messages. Hyunwoo felt his heart beat faster. For years, humans had wondered if they were alone in the universe. Now they had their answer. He picked up his phone to call Admiral Tae-sung Lee at the main headquarters. "Admiral, this is Captain Kim. We have confirmed contact with alien intelligence," Hyunwoo said. On the other end of the phone, Admiral Lee was quiet for a moment. He was an older man who had spent his whole life in the military. "Are you certain, Captain?" "Yes, sir. Lieutenant Park has been studying their signals for 3 hours. They are definitely trying to talk to us. I will be there in 1 hour. Do not respond to them until I arrive," Admiral Lee ordered. While they waited, Hyunwoo called Dr. Yoonji Choi to the base. She was the world's best expert on the possibility of alien life. Dr. Choi was a small woman with long black hair and glasses. She had spent years writing papers about what aliens might be like. When she arrived at the base, her hands were shaking with excitement. "Show me everything," she said. Lieutenant Park played the alien signals through the speakers. The sounds were like nothing humans had ever heard before. There were musical tones mixed with clicks and whistles. "This is incredible," Dr. Choi said. "They are using mathematics in their language. See how the patterns repeat? They are trying to show us they are intelligent." Engineer Do-hyun Seo joined them at the control center. He was a tall man who was very good at building and fixing machines. "Dr. Choi, if they want to talk, we need to build something to talk back to them." "Can you do that?" Hyunwoo asked. "Give me 6 hours and a good team. We can make a radio system that copies their signal patterns," Do-hyun said. Up in space, Commander Vectar was pleased. His ship's computers had learned the human language by listening to their radio and television signals. The humans seemed to be a peaceful species like most intelligent life in the galaxy. "They have art and music," Quindal reported. "Their stories talk about love and friendship. They seem to care about their families and communities." "Good," Vectar said. "Another species ready to join our peaceful galaxy. Send them a message. Tell them we want to meet and be friends." The alien ship sent a new signal toward Earth. This time the message was in simple human language. "People of Earth, we are friends from the stars. We come in peace. We want to meet you and welcome you to the galaxy community. Please respond if you wish to talk." When Admiral Lee arrived at the base, the entire team was excited. The aliens, had sent a message in perfect English. "What do we know about them?" Admiral Lee asked. "They seem peaceful, sir," Dr. Choi said. "Their message talks about friendship and community. They say there are many species in the galaxy who work together. They have technology that is much better than ours," Engineer Do-hyun added. "Their ship appeared from nowhere. We could not see it until they wanted us to." Admiral Lee thought for a long time. He was a careful man who always planned ahead. "Captain Kim, what is your opinion?" "They could have attacked us already if they wanted to, sir. Their ship is clearly more advanced than anything we have. The fact that they are trying to talk suggests they really want peace. Very well. Dr. Choi, prepare a response. Tell them we accept their offer to meet. But keep it simple. Do not tell them too much about our world yet." Dr. Choi worked with Engineer Do-hyun to create Earth's first message to alien beings. They decided to be friendly, but careful. "Greetings, friends from the stars. We are the people of Earth. We accept your offer to meet and learn about the galaxy community. We also come in peace." When the message was sent, everyone in the command center held their breath. They were making history. Up in space, Commander Vector received the human response. He was happy that another young species wanted to join the peaceful galaxy. "Prepare the welcome protocols," he told his crew. "Schedule a meeting at the edge of their system. We will introduce them to the Galactic Council properly." Quindal's crystal body glowed bright blue with happiness. Another species saved from the darkness of isolation. Soon they will learn the ways of peace and harmony that unite all civilized beings. Back on Earth, Captain Hyun-woo looked out the window at the stars. Soon humans would take their first steps into a larger universe. He wondered what changes this would bring to his world. Dr. Yoonji was already making plans to study the aliens. She wanted to learn everything about their science, culture, and history. Engineer Do-hyun was thinking about their technology. If the aliens were willing to share knowledge, Earth could advance by hundreds of years in a very short time. None of them knew that this first contact would lead to events that would shock the entire galaxy. The peaceful aliens had no idea what kind of species they had just invited to join their community. The human leaders began preparing for the most important meeting in Earth's history, not knowing that they would soon face choices that would change the fate of countless worlds. 2 weeks later, the meeting took place at the edge of Earth's solar system. Commander Vector's ship had grown much larger. Other alien ships had joined him, each one carrying representatives from different species in the Galactic Council. The main ship was now the size of a small city. Its halls were filled with beings that looked nothing like humans, but all of them moved with calm, peaceful gestures. They had come to welcome Earth's people into their community. Captain Hyun-woo led Earth's team in a small shuttle that looked tiny next to the alien ships. With him were Ambassador So Young-yoon, a smart woman who spoke many languages, and military advisor Jae-min-oh, who had been chosen because he was good at staying calm in new situations. When their shuttle entered the alien ship, Hyun-woo was amazed by what he saw. The walls glowed with soft light, and plants from many different worlds grew in beautiful gardens. The air smelled like flowers and rain. "Welcome, people of Earth," Commander Vector said as he approached them. His voice was translated by a small device that made his words sound like normal English. Standing next to him were 11 other beings, each stranger than the last. There was Morden, whose body looked like flowing water held together by invisible force. Next to him stood Krialta, a being made of what looked like living metal that changed shape as she moved. "We are honored to meet you," Ambassador So Young said. She had practiced this moment many times, but seeing real aliens still made her nervous. "The honor is ours," said a voice that sounded like singing birds. It came from Silthara, a creature covered in beautiful feathers that changed color when she spoke. "It has been 300 years since we last welcomed a new species to our community." The aliens led the humans to a great hall where the walls showed pictures of different worlds. Each image was more beautiful than the last. Cities that floated on clouds, oceans that sparkled with living light, and forests where the trees grew into the shape of buildings. "This is our galaxy," explained Quindal. Her crystal body was glowing bright green, which meant she was happy. 12 species working together in peace and harmony. No war, no conflict, no violence between worlds. Jae-min-oh raised his hand. How long has it been since there was any fighting between your species? The aliens looked at each other with confusion. Vectar answered slowly. Fighting? You mean physical conflict? That ended for most species over 2,000 years ago. For some, it has been even longer. What ended it? Hyunwoo asked. Wisdom, said a deep voice from across the room. The speaker was Thrakvar, a huge being that looked like a walking mountain covered in moss. All intelligent species eventually learn that violence is primitive. Civilized beings solve problems with words and understanding. Ambassador So Young nodded as if she understood, but inside she felt worried. She remembered the briefing documents she had read before coming here. Earth's history was full of wars and conflicts. How would these peaceful beings react if they knew the truth? The tour continued for hours. The aliens showed them libraries that contained the knowledge of all 12 species. They saw gardens where food grew without soil, and workshops where artists from different worlds worked together to create beautiful things. Your species shows great promise, said Zendara, a being that looked like a tall, thin human but with silver skin and no hair. Your art and music have patterns we find very interesting. Dr. Yoon-ji, who had joined them by video link from Earth, smiled. Thank you. We are eager to learn from your civilizations. Learning is why we are here, Vectar said. We want to share our knowledge with you. In return, we hope you will share your culture with us. The aliens had prepared a great feast with foods from many worlds. Some dishes looked normal to human eyes, but others were completely strange. There were fruits that glowed in the dark and soups that changed color as you ate them. During the meal, the aliens asked many questions about Earth. Ambassador So Young answered carefully, talking about human achievements in art, science, and music. She showed them recordings of human orchestras, paintings by famous artists, and poems written in many languages. Your species has such creativity, said Lifendra, a being that looked like a large flower with eyes. We see great beauty in your expressions. What the aliens did not see were the parts of human culture that Ambassador So Young carefully avoided. She did not show them movies about war. She did not mention the military history that filled Earth's museums. She did not talk about the weapons that humans had created over thousands of years. Military advisor Jae-min stayed quiet during most of the meal. He was trained to notice things that others might miss. The alien ship had no weapons that he could see. The beings themselves seemed physically weak compared to humans. Even their technology seemed designed only for peaceful purposes. Tell us about your government, Mordun asked, his water-like body rippling with curiosity. Earth has many different governments, So Young explained. But we are working together more and more each year. That is good, Vectar said. Unity brings peace. When your world is ready, we can help you create a single, peaceful government like all mature civilizations have. After the meal, the aliens showed them the most important room on their ship. It was a great chamber where representatives from all 12 species met to make decisions. The room had no weapons, no guards, no signs of conflict at all. This is where the Galactic Council meets, Quindal explained. When there is a problem anywhere in our territory, we come here to talk about it. We always find peaceful solutions. What kinds of problems do you face? Hyunwoo asked. Sometimes there are disagreements about trade routes, Thrakvar said, or questions about which species should explore a new star system. We discuss these things calmly and find answers that make everyone happy. Jae-min found this hard to believe. What if someone refuses to accept the council's decision? The aliens looked shocked by the question. Why would anyone do that? Asked Silthera. The council always finds the best solution for everyone. Only primitive species refuse to listen to reason. As the day ended, the aliens made their offer official. They invited Earth to become the 13th member of the Galactic Council. The process would take several years, during which human leaders would learn the ways of peaceful civilization. We will teach you our advanced technologies, Vectar promised. Clean energy that never runs out, medicine that can cure any disease, transportation that can cross the galaxy in days instead of years. What do you want from us in return? Ambassador So Young asked. Only friendship, said Zendara. And your promise to follow the path of peace as all civilized species do. On the shuttle ride back to Earth, the three humans sat in thoughtful silence. Finally, Hyunwoo spoke. They assume we are naturally peaceful like them, he said quietly. Their entire civilization is based on the belief that all intelligent species eventually give up violence, Jamin added. They have no idea what humans are really like. Ambassador So Young looked out at the stars. What do we tell our governments? The aliens are offering us incredible advances in technology and science, but they expect us to become something we have never been. Maybe we can change, Hyunwoo said, but he did not sound convinced. Maybe, Jamin agreed. Or maybe we need to be very careful about how much we tell them about our real history. None of them knew that their careful deception would soon face its greatest test. Events were already in motion that would force humanity to reveal its true nature to the shocked aliens of the Galactic Council. 3 months had passed since first contact. The relationship between Earth and the Galactic Council was growing stronger every day. Alien teachers had come to Earth to share their knowledge, while human artists and scientists traveled to other worlds to learn new things. Dr. Yoonji worked closely with Quindal to study the differences between human and alien biology. Engineer Do Hyun learned about energy systems that seemed like magic to human eyes. Everything was going exactly as the aliens had planned for thousands of other species. Commander Vector was in his private quarters, writing a report about humanity's progress when the emergency alarm began to sound. The noise was loud and harsh, something that had not been heard on council ships for over 50 years. All senior officers to the command center immediately, came the announcement in 12 different alien languages. Vector rushed to the main bridge, where he found chaos. Officers who normally moved with calm dignity were running between control stations. The main viewing screen showed images that made his bark-like skin turn pale with fear. Report, Vector commanded. Commander, we have received distress signals from the outer colonies, said his communications officer, a nervous being whose tentacles were shaking with terror. The Sekrathi have returned. The name sent a wave of fear through every alien. On the bridge, the Sekrathi were the nightmare that peaceful species whispered about in their darkest moments. They were a race of insect-like creatures who had refused to join the Galactic Council centuries ago. Unlike the peaceful species, the Sekrathi had continued to evolve as predators. They traveled in huge swarms, consuming everything in their path. Their ships were alive, grown from their own genetic material, and they could create new vessels by feeding on the worlds they conquered. How many ships? Vector asked, though he feared the answer. Our scouts report at least 10,000 bioships approaching the Kepler colonies. The swarm is growing as they consume resources from each world they attack. Quindal's crystal body had turned completely black with terror. Commander, the Kepler system has over 2 billion peaceful beings. They have no defenses against the Sekrathi. Vector knew this was true. The Galactic Council had not built weapons for hundreds of years. Their ships were designed for exploration, trade, and diplomacy. The most violent tool they possessed were mining lasers used to gather resources from asteroids. Send the evacuation order to all outer colonies, Vector commanded. All civilian ships are to retreat to the inner systems immediately. Sir, there is more bad news, the communications officer said. The Sekrathi are not just attacking randomly this time. They appear to be following a planned invasion route that leads directly toward our core worlds. The implications were terrifying. If the Sekrathi had developed strategy and planning, they were far more dangerous than ever before. The peaceful species had always survived their attacks by running away and hiding. But if the predators could think and plan, nowhere would be safe. Contact Earth immediately, Vector ordered. The humans must begin evacuation procedures at once. On Earth, Captain Hyunwoo was in a meeting with other military leaders when the alien message arrived. The holographic image of Commander Vector appeared in the center of the room, his usually calm demeanor replaced by obvious panic. Captain Kim, you and your people are in terrible danger, Vector said without any greeting. The Sekrathi have begun a new invasion. All human civilians must evacuate to our protected systems immediately. Admiral Tae-sung leaned forward in his chair. What are the Sekrathi? They are predators, Admiral Lee. They consume entire worlds and use the resources to grow more ships. They cannot be reasoned with or stopped through diplomacy. The human military leaders looked at each other with expressions that the aliens could not read. Lieutenant Minho Shin, who had been quietly taking notes, asked the first tactical question. What are their capabilities? How many ships? What weapons do they use? Vector seemed surprised by the question. Lieutenant, you should not concern yourself with such details. The Council will handle the threat while your people evacuate to safety. With respect, Commander, said Commander Eugene Kang, we would like to understand what we are facing. The Sekrathi use bioweapons that dissolve both organic and metal materials. Vector explained reluctantly. Their ships can repair themselves by consuming matter from space debris. They attack in coordinated swarms that overwhelm peaceful defenses through sheer numbers. Admiral Lee asked the question that changed everything. How does the Galactic Council usually deal with them? We evacuate all populations from threatened areas and wait for them to move on to other regions of space, Vector admitted. It has always worked before. The silence in the human command room was deafening. Finally, Captain Hyunwoo spoke carefully. Commander, you evacuate entire star systems and just hope the predators go away? What else can civilized beings do? Vector asked. Violence only leads to more violence. The Council learned this truth long ago. Another long pause. Then Admiral Lee asked, what if they do not go away this time? Vector's image flickered, as if the communication was having trouble. The Sekrathi have never shown this level of organization before. If they have truly developed strategic thinking, he could not finish the sentence. How long do we have? Commander Eugene asked. At their current speed, they will reach your solar system in 6 standard days, Vector said. Please begin evacuation immediately. We have prepared safe zones deep in Council territory where your people can wait until the threat passes. When the communication ended, the human leaders sat in silence for several minutes. Finally, Admiral Lee spoke. General Staff, I want a full tactical assessment of this situation within 2 hours. Contact all department heads. This is now a code black scenario. Sir, should we begin civilian evacuations as the aliens suggested? Asked Lieutenant Minho. Admiral Lee looked around the room at his fellow officers. What do you think, people? Should we run and hide like the aliens do? Commander Eugene spoke first. Sir, we do not know enough about these Sekrathi yet. But from what the alien described, they sound like a threat that will only grow stronger if nobody fights them. Agreed, said Captain Hyunwoo. If we evacuate now, what happens to Earth? What happens to everything humans have built? And what happens to the peaceful aliens? Added Lieutenant Minho. If these Sekrathi are really planning a full invasion, evacuation just delays the inevitable. Admiral Lee nodded slowly. Contact Dr. Yoonji and Engineer Do-hyun. Tell them to get everything they can about Sekrathi biology and technology from their alien friends. Tell them to ask lots of questions, but be subtle about it. What about the evacuation order? Commander Eugene asked. We will evacuate non-essential personnel and civilians from potential target zones, Admiral Lee decided. But we are not abandoning our solar system. Sir, what do we tell Commander Vector? Captain Hyunwoo asked. Admiral Lee was quiet for a long moment. Tell him we are preparing to follow Council protocols. Do not mention anything else yet. As the meeting ended, each officer knew they were about to make decisions that would change everything. The peaceful aliens had no idea that they had just asked the wrong species to run away from a fight. Within hours, secret messages were being sent to military bases across Earth and its colonies. The greatest war machine in human history began to wake up from its careful slumber. The Sekrathi swarm arrived at the edge of the solar system exactly when predicted. Their bioships looked like giant insects made of metal and flesh, moving in perfect formation through the darkness of space. Each ship was the size of a human city, with thousands of smaller attack craft clustered around it like angry wasps. From his observation ship safely positioned 2 star systems away, Commander Vector watched the invasion begin. He expected to see the usual pattern, a few primitive orbital defenses firing helplessly before being destroyed, followed by the quick consumption of the planet below. Instead, he saw something that made his entire worldview collapse in a single moment. The human response began not from the planet Earth, but from empty space itself. What the Sekrathi scouts had reported as vacant regions suddenly came alive with activity. Hidden bases that had been invisible to both alien and predator sensors activated all at once. Admiral Taesung commanded the operation from Earth's primary military headquarters, deep underground in a facility the aliens had never known existed. Around him, dozens of officers coordinated the largest military operation in human history. "All fleets report ready," announced General Sung Ho Baek, his voice steady despite the magnitude of what they were about to attempt. "Launch Operation Cleansing Fire," Admiral Lee ordered. From hidden positions throughout the solar system, the human war machine revealed itself. Battleships emerged from behind asteroids where they had waited for months. Space stations that had appeared to be simple mining operations opened up to reveal massive weapon systems. Even some of the planet's moons split open, showing giant gun installations that had been built in secret. Captain Dongwook Lim commanded the destroyer squadron that struck first. His ships moved with a speed and precision that shocked both the Gai, attacking Sekrathi, and the watching aliens. Instead of the clumsy, panic-driven fighting that most species showed when first attacked, the humans fought like they had been preparing for this moment their entire lives. The human weapons were nothing like the peaceful tools the Galactic Council species had developed. These were devices created with only one purpose: to destroy enemies as efficiently as possible. Commander Eugene Kang's fighter wing launched their attack just as the Sekrathi began to realize they faced something completely unexpected. The bioships that had easily consumed peaceful worlds found themselves under assault by weapons they had never encountered. "Target their reproductive chambers first," came the order from Commander Haiwan Nam, who had spent weeks studying the alien biology data that Dr. Eun-ji had quietly gathered. "Stop them from growing new ships." The human strategy was unlike anything seen in the galaxy for centuries. While peaceful species tried to minimize damage and avoid conflict, humans had planned their attack to cause maximum destruction in minimum time. Colonel Ji-Hai-1 led the marine assault teams in specialized ships designed to board enemy vessels. While other species found the idea of entering an enemy ship too violent to consider, humans had spent years developing techniques to fight inside hostile environments. "Boarding teams Alpha through Delta, prepare for insertion," Colonel Wan announced. "Remember, we are not just fighting for Earth. We are fighting for every peaceful world these things want to consume." Dr. Sun Wujang coordinated the medical teams from a command ship positioned behind the main battle lines. Unlike the aliens, who believed all violence was wrong, humans understood that sometimes fighting was necessary to protect innocent lives. Engineer Mi Young Cho deployed experimental weapons that had been developed in secret facilities across Earth. These were devices that pushed the boundaries of human technology, created by reverse engineering alien science and then improving it for military purposes. Watching from his distant observation post, Commander Vector could barely believe what he was seeing. The Sekrathi swarm that had destroyed dozens of peaceful worlds was being systematically torn apart by human forces. "Quindal, are you recording all of this?" Vector asked in a voice filled with shock. The crystal being beside him was glowing bright red, a color her species only showed during extreme emotional distress. "Commander, I do not understand what we are witnessing. The humans are not just defending themselves, they are hunting the Sekrathi." It was true. After the initial defensive phase of the battle, human forces had switched to offensive operations. Captain Hyunwoo led a task force that was pursuing retreating bioships, making sure none escaped to report back to the main Sekrathi force. "No survivors," came Admiral Lee's order across all communication channels. "We cannot allow them to return with intelligence about human capabilities." The words sent chills through the alien observers. The peaceful species had never heard language like this: cold, calculated, and completely focused on the total destruction of an enemy. Commander Dongwook's destroyers moved through the battle zone like sharks, hunting down damaged Sekrathi ships and finishing them off with precision strikes. There was no mercy, no attempt to communicate or negotiate, only efficient, deadly action. "Sir, we have confirmed destruction of the primary bioship," reported Lieutenant Colonel Kyung-Ho Cha from his assault carrier. "The entire forward swarm has been eliminated." But Admiral Lee was not satisfied with just defensive victory. "Begin Phase 2 operations. I want pursuit fleets prepared to follow their retreat route back to source." This was when Commander Vektar realized the true horror of what he was witnessing. The humans were not content to simply drive off the attackers. They planned to hunt down the entire Sekrathi force. "Commander," Quindal's voice was barely a whisper, "they are going to follow the predators home. But that means—" Vektar could not finish the thought. The implications were too terrible. Captain Wu Jin Yu led the pursuit force that left the solar system just hours after the main battle ended. His ships were loaded with weapons and supplies for a long campaign. The humans had decided that the Sekrathi threat needed to be ended permanently. "All ships, maintain formation," Captain Yu ordered. "We have 3 Sekrathi bioships retreating toward their home territory. Our mission is to track them back to their source and eliminate the entire nest." Colonel Kyung-Ho established temporary bases in the outer solar system to support the human war effort. These were not the peaceful research stations that other species built, but military installations designed to supply and coordinate extended combat operations. General Sung-Ho coordinated the defense of Earth itself, but his preparations were not for protection. Instead, he was organizing Earth as a base for military operations across the galaxy. "Begin production of additional fleet units," General Back ordered. "If there are more predator species out there, we need to be ready for them." The alien observers watched in growing terror as they realized what they had witnessed. Humanity had not just survived the Sekrathi attack, they had revealed themselves as predators even more dangerous than the species that had terrorized the galaxy for centuries. "What have we done?" Vektar whispered. "We invited them into our peaceful community and they are monsters." But Quindal, studying the battle data, came to a different conclusion. "Commander, look at the tactical reports. The humans did not attack any of our ships even though we were in their territory during the battle. They focused entirely on the Sekrathi." "What does that mean?" "I think it means they are not monsters, Commander. They are something else entirely. They are what happens when a species develops the ability to fight, but chooses when to use it." As reports came in of human forces pursuing and destroying Sekrathi vessels across 3 star systems, the Galactic Council faced a terrifying new reality. The galaxy's balance of power had just shifted completely, and none of them knew what would happen next. 2 weeks after the battle, Commander Vektar received a message that made his hands shake with fear. Captain Hyunwoo was requesting a formal meeting with the full Galactic Council. The tone of the message was polite but firm, and it was not really a request. The meeting took place in the same great hall where the aliens had first welcomed humanity to their peaceful community. But everything felt different now. The 12 species that had once seemed wise and advanced now looked small and frightened as they waited for the humans to arrive. When Captain Hyunwoo entered the chamber, he was not alone. Admiral Ja Young, Song walked beside him, her military uniform a stark reminder of the power humans had revealed. Behind them came Ambassador So Young-yoon, but her role had clearly changed from asking for acceptance to something much more serious. "Honored members of the Galactic Council," Hyunwoo began, his voice carrying an authority that had not been there during their first meeting. "We come to address the events of recent days and discuss the future of our relationship. Commander." Vektar stood on his 6 legs trying to project the calm dignity his species was known for, but his voice trembled as he spoke. "Captain Kim, we must discuss what happened in your solar system. The level of violence we witnessed was necessary." Admiral Song interrupted, her voice cutting through the alien's words like a blade. "The Sekrathi had consumed billions of lives across dozens of worlds. Your policy of evacuation and hope had failed completely." The alien representatives looked at each other with expressions of shock. Never in their thousands of years of civilization had anyone spoken so directly about violence in their sacred meeting hall. Quindal's crystal body was flickering between colors as she struggled with emotions her people rarely felt. But Admiral, violence only leads to more violence. This is the most basic truth of civilized existence. Is it? Asked Ambassador So Young, stepping forward. Let me share some truth with you. While you have been evacuating and hiding from the Sekrathi for centuries, they have grown stronger and bolder. Our analysis shows that they have consumed over 300 billion lives in the past 50 years alone. The number hit the peaceful aliens like a physical blow. They had never calculated the true cost of their policy of non-resistance. We apologize for deceiving you about our nature, Hyunwoo continued. But we needed to understand your civilization before revealing our capabilities. What we discovered concerned us greatly. Concerned you? Asked Morden, his water-like form rippling with confusion. Engineer Changmin Park entered the chamber carrying a datapad filled with information. Honored council members, we have spent the past 3 months analyzing your technology, your history, and your defensive capabilities. What we found was deeply troubling. Your entire civilization is defenseless, Admiral Song stated bluntly. Not just against the Sekrathi, but against any species that chooses violence over peace. You have survived only because you were lucky enough that most species evolved as you did. The alien Silthara ruffled her colorful feathers in distress. But we chose to evolve beyond violence because it is wrong. Civilized beings do not hurt each other. Dr. Yunji, joining the meeting through holographic projection, spoke gently but firmly. That is a beautiful ideal, and we respect it. But the universe contains species like the Sekrathi who do not share your values. Your philosophy only works if everyone follows it. What are you saying? Asked Thrakvar, his mountain-like form seeming smaller than usual. Captain Hyunwoo walked to the center of the chamber, the same place where the aliens had first welcomed humanity with such hope. We are saying that someone needs to protect the peaceful species from those who would destroy them. Since you cannot protect yourselves, we will do it. The silence that followed was deafening. Finally, Zendara spoke in a voice barely above a whisper. Are you conquering us? No, Admiral Song replied immediately. We are offering you protection, but we need you to understand what that means. General Sung-ho's image appeared on the chamber's main screen. Honored Council. Our forces have completely eliminated the Sekrathi threat. We tracked them to their home system and destroyed their entire breeding population. They will never threaten peaceful worlds again. The aliens reacted with horror to this news, but Hyunwoo continued speaking before they could protest. We know this seems terrible to you, but those same Sekrathi would have continued consuming innocent lives for centuries if we had not acted. Commander Woo Jin-yu is now patrolling the former Sekrathi territory, Admiral Song added. We have established permanent bases to ensure no other predator species moves into that region. Our analysis has identified 3 other potentially hostile species in this galaxy, Engineer Changmin reported. We are preparing missions to evaluate and, if necessary, neutralize these threats. Commander Vector finally found his voice. You are talking about reshaping the entire galaxy through violence. We are talking about creating a galaxy where peaceful species like yours can truly live in peace. Hyunwoo corrected. For the first time in your history, you will not need to fear predators or evacuate your worlds. Ambassador So Young stepped forward with a document. The choice is yours, Honored Council. You can accept humanity as the military protector of all peaceful worlds, or you can continue trying to survive on your own. And if we refuse? Asked Lifendra, her flower-like form trembling. Admiral Song's expression softened slightly. Then we will respect your decision and leave you to handle threats like the Sekrathi in your own way. But we will not allow innocent beings to suffer when we have the power to prevent it. The alien representatives huddled together, speaking, in their various languages in voices too low for the humans to hear. Finally, Commander Vector spoke for all of them. This is not the galaxy we wanted. Violence and military power deciding the fate of worlds goes against everything we believe. But it is the galaxy that exists, Hyunwoo replied gently. We did not create the Sekrathi or other predator species. We are simply acknowledging reality and dealing with it. Quindal's crystal form had settled into a deep blue color that indicated deep thought. If we agree to this arrangement, what guarantees do we have that humans will not become the next threat we need to fear? You have the same guarantee you had with us from the beginning, Ambassador So Young answered. Our actions. We could have conquered your entire civilization weeks ago if that had been our goal. Instead, we revealed ourselves only when peaceful beings were in danger. Colonel Sujin Han's image appeared on a side screen. Honored Council, our fleets are now patrolling the borders of your territory. Any hostile species attempting to enter peaceful space will be intercepted and dealt with. We are not asking you to change your peaceful ways, Admiral Song explained. Continue to build your beautiful civilizations, create your art, pursue your science. We will handle the ugly necessity of protecting all of that from those who would destroy it. After hours of discussion, the Galactic Council reached their decision. They would accept human protection, but with careful agreements about how that protection would be provided. Very well, Commander Vector said finally. But we want observers attached to all human military operations. We need to ensure that your methods remain focused on protection, not conquest. Agreed, Hyunwoo nodded. Transparency will help build trust between our species. 6 months later, the galaxy had settled into its new reality. Human patrol fleets moved through space marked with the symbols of the Galactic Council, protecting trade routes and peaceful worlds. The alien species continued their lives much as before, but without the constant fear of predator attacks. Dr. Yoonji worked with alien scientists to develop new technologies that combined human innovation with alien knowledge. Engineer Do Hyun helped design better ships and systems for exploring the galaxy safely. Captain Kyung Ho established the first joint human-alien base in former Sekrathi territory. The facility served both as a monitoring station and as a symbol of the new cooperation between species. In the council chambers, Admiral Ja Young met regularly with alien representatives to coordinate protective operations across the galaxy. The meetings were sometimes tense, but both sides were learning to work together. Commander Vector often stood in his observation deck, looking out at the stars with mixed feelings. The galaxy was safer than it had been in centuries, but it had come at the cost of the peaceful ideals his people had cherished. Do you regret our decision? Quindal asked him one day, her crystal form showing the silver color of uncertainty. I regret that it was necessary, Vector replied. But I cannot argue with the results. For the first time since our records began, no peaceful worlds have been lost to predators. As he watched a human patrol ship pass by his window, Vector realized that perhaps civilization was not about avoiding all violence, but about ensuring that those willing to use violence only did so to protect those who could not protect themselves. The galaxy had learned a hard lesson, but perhaps it was a lesson that needed to be learned. Peace was not just the absence of war. Sometimes it required good people to fight so that innocent people could live safely. The age of human protection had begun, and the peaceful species would have to decide whether they could accept being protected by warriors.